Well, good morning, everybody out there in social media land, all around the world, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Good morning. Anywhere in the world, wherever you are, wherever you may tune in, God bless you. From my home to yours, God bless you. Yesterday, we've seen some amazing scenes in London, England, and we've seen them all around the world. Berlin, Dublin, and Jerusalem. Yesterday, Jerusalem. Netanyahu's homeland. Morning, Merv. How are you, sweetheart? We're going to be talking about what happened yesterday. The lack of. You would have thought that over 35,000 people in Trafalgar Square would have raised some form of curiosity by the establishment media, the BBC, ITV, Channel 4. But oh no. A historical day yesterday, a very deep historical day for the people of this land took place. Why did the BBC, ITV, Channel 4 not cover it? Not a whisper. Not a whisper. Not a whisper. Story Dave. Hello, Po. How are you? Story Dave. Yeah. Why didn't they cover it? Why didn't they cover it? What morning, Awaken World, lovely to see you. So over 35,000 people. There was masses and masses and masses of people, and there's a couple of things that have come very apparent. I'm just going to turn my security camera's screen on so I can see who's about whilst I'm in the office in the den. Sonia Ballard Scott, hello, darling. Nice to see you. How are you? Praise be. God bless you. From my home to yours, God bless you. It doesn't suit the narrative. Well, you got there's the Trafalgar Square was ram-packed. The Metropolitan Police overhead in their helicopters coming in quite low, trying to silence out the noise and the loudspeakers and stuff, but it's not happening. People are too... But here's the dichotomy. It could backlash on them. Well, it will backlash. Because if you ignore the people of your country, when they clan up, when they come together, there was no violence there yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, no violence at all. Peaceful protesting. Well, peaceful protesting for me is, I mean, I'm waiting for greater things, to be honest with you. I'm not taking anything away from anyone that went yesterday. It was good. It was so awesome to see. It was really so awesome to see, and I think this is the start of something bigger. It is definitely the start of something bigger. Let me tell you. Amazing times to be alive, but no coverage from the media. The BBC, nothing. My good friend Mike, who lives around the corner from me, watched my live stream yesterday over 3 hours where I was covering what went on yesterday. For those that couldn't get there, if you wish to go back through the archive on my YouTube channel, you'll see yesterday's podcast. Great sins. I mean, we covered Dublin, we covered Berlin very briefly because it didn't seem that there was a lot going on in Berlin. But then I'm hearing other things. I'm hearing that Berlin absolutely did turn out. So who knows? But why didn't the BBC, the ITV and that cover any of this? Why? That must tell you something. Now, there is a massive rift in this country. You've got the mainstream, lamestream, and you've got the alternative news media, whatever it is you want to call us. And it's getting... There is a rift. It's like Moses has slammed his staff in the middle of the sea and parted the waters. And down the middle, you've got no man's land. And then on the left, you've got this. And on the right, you've got the truthers, the awakeners. It's... I never thought I'd witness scenes like this in this country. I never did. You would think it was sinking to the police down there listening. I did see one copper barking at a lad yesterday, vicious like a Rottweiler. Some individuals had decided the police were using a swing open barrier to come in and out. Someone, I think, took a combination lock up and put it on there so they couldn't get in and out. And then the police went into Downing Street and found a set of bolt croppers, and they come out and they was having trouble cutting through this. Maybe it was high tensile steel, I don't know, but bolt croppers They couldn't even work a set of bolt croppers. That's how stupid these people are. Bolt croppers are easy to use, right? You only got to have a little bit of that about you and away you go. But they couldn't work it out. The others go, well, hold it then. The other cops go, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. For me, years ago, you would have one copper really stood outside Downing Street. There was no gates. They had their blue uniforms. It was all highly polished and highly pleasant. Now, it's like they got a garrison there all the time. Must be costing the British taxpayer a fortune. So I think they're expecting trouble, and they had it all cornered off. But there's no. See, Mike said to me, he messaged me last night at 10 o'clock. He went, nothing on the news. The BBC have not covered this at all. Well, the BBC is the thing. The BBC is supposed to be impartial. They're supposed to give you the God's honest truth as it happens, impartial, so that you at home can make your own minds up. But nothing. No one from the ITV. Exactly the same years ago when my friend Stevie Dawes dressed up as a superhero and went and stood up for about 3 weeks on top of a monument in Hyde Park with a few of the others fighting Fathers for Justice. And they was getting all toots from the roundabout, from the cars and motors. But did the BBC? We was all ringing the BBC saying you need to get round there, report this. No, they wouldn't do it. So our media is heavily censored. It's biased. It's corrupt, and it's not truthful. Not truthful. If you're watching the BBC, God bless you. I mean, if you're watching the BBC right now in this day and age and you're believing the dribble that they send out as the truth, then my good God, that's all I'm going to say. Now, it's hard for me to say this. I used to think that the British BBC establishment was the best to offer, and that it was great for this country with their programming and their kids stuff, but it was always corrupt. Even when you go back to the Childs thing, Captain Pugwash, and you had Seaman Staines and Master Bates and Roger the cabin boy, it's been corrupt for a long time. Muffin the Mule, I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I'm saying. Muffin the Mule is surely illegal. It can't be right. So yesterday, no coverage, not a peep. But what we've got this 50-50 split now. We've got people that watch things like this, what you're watching me on that, and you've got people that just sit at home and watch that thing. I don't use that for badness. I use that for good when I do use it. My youngest boy tuned into YouTube yesterday on YouTube, 12 years old. He asked, why are we being lied to? Beautiful. Beautiful. What a generation to be waking up. 12-year-olds. Yeah, I mean, come on. That's just awesome. So we know that the BBC is dirty. We know the BBC is corrupt. And why would you subject kids to watching Master Bates, Seaman Staines and Roger a cabin boy? Please tell me why you would do that. I don't know. But the police at Downing Street were surrounded yesterday by 35,000 decent souls that hung around there for over an hour. And it was good to see. I think it was a bit of a message. But what we clearly have now is this, like, boom, Moses has chucked his rod down. You've got the two waves going up. You've got the mainstream liberal, whatever it is over here. And then you've got the people that actually see and can discern with their own mind, because ignorance isn't strength, ladies and gentlemen. Ignorance is your Achilles heel. Especially, look, I cannot see for the dear life of me that the situation we find ourselves in this country right now, that everybody is not just smelling at maybe even just a tiny little rat with what's going on with the 1984 COVID and all the other stuff and the lockdowns and people having barbecues and being beaten up by the police in their own back gardens. If you can't see that that's descended into a fourth column, Fourth Reich scenario, then I really don't know. And I only hope that there is hope for you. I really do. I do not watch TV in a long time, TV program. The beauty of this is that the original establishment, the BBC, are facing a decline. Right now, how long they're going to be able to carry on for, Lord only knows. We know that they're heavily sponsored by the European Union. We know that. The European Union throw cash at them to show them in a favourable light. Well, they would do. So that's why the BBC is not impartial, because they're not going to go against the hand that feeds them. They know who they work for. They have their bitches. They have their masters. Very sad. Very sad of this great country. Look, I don't care where you come from. I don't care if you're Polish and you live in this country. I don't care where you come from, whether your parents are for Dominican, Tobago and all that from centuries ago when the Windrush generation come over. Actually, it weren't centuries ago. It was back in 1950s. I don't care. I really don't care. If you're here and you're in England, you're English. You live here. You've been here a while. You're English. English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh. You're here. So you're defined by the area, the geographical area, and the group of people that you live in. You know, the way the Windrush generation has been treated, a lot of Windrush generation have been deported, their siblings, because apparently they come over in the 50s without the correct paperwork. So we know how powerful this devilish paperwork is in this Luciferian system. And I am absolutely in total disgust at the way the Windrush generation have been treated. I find it absolutely abhorrent and appalling that these kids from the Windrush generation have grown up in this country, gone to school, done all the old bits that they're supposed to do, and then finding themselves deported. And they have deported a lot of people. It's sick. It's absolutely sick. But yet we've got ferries, we've got the HM taxi service bringing people across the channel that we don't know that are coming for war. They might come in all sweetness and light, ladies and gentlemen, but what you've got to understand, if you don't use ignorance as a strength, because it's not, is that we've decimated their countries and we've killed a lot of their people and smashed up their livelihoods. So if you don't think that they're coming for a little bit tasty stuff, then I really don't know what to do. Has anyone seen the body cam footage of Ricky Dickman reported to me in Sussex Police? Describe it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's put that out for Matty Taylor. Send me a bell and I'll share it privately with you. Bob's your uncle. Nice to see you, Matt. Thanks for tuning in. So, yeah, even this morning, there will not be any news on the 35,000 plus people that went up. And is it frustrating for me? No, it's not. I don't get frustrated at all that the BBC and the MSN are not reporting on this. Why? Because when you're over the target, you expect flack. When you've got a groundswell of people of a country that have absolutely had enough, and you've got the establishment, the imperialistic people turning a blind eye. That's what happens with the imperialism. But we've seen imperialistic dynasties come crashing down in the past. We know that Boudica or Boadicea smashed the granny out of the Roman Empire back when Britannia was around, all because they killed her family. So we know. I don't care whether the BBC report on it. I don't care whether the ITV and the mainstream don't cover it. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm on this side of the dividing rod. I'm not on that side. I'm on the light side. I'm not on the side of the darkness. They must be questioning themselves. There must be many in the BBC and that saying, well, why are we not covering this? This is history being made. When was the last time you ever heard of over 35,000 people descending on Trafalgar Square like that and doing something like that? Maybe after the Second World War, VE Day in Europe, maybe then. We've got pictures of great scenes of VE Day when everyone turned up into the city and just jubilating, you know, they were celebrating. Why? And they was all stood round Nelson's column, and Nelson looks down over his fleet going down Whitehall every single day, keeps his eye on his fleet all the time. If you walk down Whitehall, you'll see all the big tall things. You'll see all Nelson's vessels up on top, all depicted, the boats up there, so he keeps his eye on his fleet all the time, which is it's a clever thing to do. Bless Nelson. A good job he's up that high, because otherwise the BLM would have dragged him down already. That's what they should have done with all these statues in this country. Stuck them up 100 foot, yeah? 100 foot, bosh. Wouldn't be able to drag them all over. I never forget seeing a few months ago these BLM activists, these Black Lives Matters, which, of course, all lives matter. All lives matter, trust me. But this was in America, And this guy and a woman were up on top of this statue rocking it, and they managed to free it and push it forward, and it comes smashing down to the ground, and it landed on top of someone. It just squashed their skull. Now, I presume that the individual that statue landed on is probably dead, long gone. But the two people, they heard the outcry of the people down the ground go, oh, my God. And they looked over and went, oh. And then without hesitation, 2 seconds later, they went, yay! I'm like, you're celebrating kicking off a bit of stone off a statue, but yet you've probably just killed someone and you're celebrating. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Kate Shiramani yesterday was absolutely awesome. Chico Slimani, Chico time. Now, I've had the pleasure of meeting Chico, and he's a nice guy. He's an amazing man. Morning, Dave. The government had a D notice on protests unless it suits them. The government are a disgrace. But look, what happened to free press? Whatever happened to a free press? The press years ago, their people, to get the news, to get the truth, used to put themselves in some very compromising situations. And a lot of them got hurt a lot of the time, but they knew that they had a job to do. They knew that it was important to get the truth out. Not now. The government issued a D notice. So that tells you that the news is just a government propaganda machine, right? Just been watching the David Icke footage. Ray Edmonds, very good turnout. David Icke was amazing yesterday. And he's been waiting for that moment for years, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the man's used to talking to over 30,000 people because he does gigs and all that. And he's good at them as well. No lives matter when it comes to weed. To be honest with you, I'm just a bit of a loss where we are as a species, as a humanity, or mankind, whatever it is you want to call us. I'm just, all it is just idiots all the time getting away with blue murder. Interesting times, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very interesting times. But yesterday, I think history's just starting to be made. There's only so long that the BBC and that can ignore this. All right. If this continues to grow and grow momentum, which I think it will do, because a lot of them people that went yesterday will feel today completely incensed at the lack of respect and reverence to be given to them, to be covered, because it took a lot of them a lot of time, money and energy to go and do what they did yesterday. And I can imagine if I was one of the 35,000 that went yesterday, I'd be at home this morning saying, well, where's it on the BBC? But there is always light at the end of the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. We know that the BBC have now come out and made a public statement saying that within the next imminent few years, they will not be doing the 6 o'clock news and the 10 o'clock news. That is so powerful, ladies and gentlemen. That means that you've all turned your back on them. It means that you're not swallowing their narrative anymore, and that you've got a little bit cheesed off with how they are. We absolutely need a 100% overhaul in this country, because we are descending into chaos and we are decaying right in front of our eyes. The government is doing unacceptable things to us as a people and as a nation. It's completely unacceptable, and we have to do something about that. We cannot continue down this path of decay. We've got to do something, and I think we are on the verge of seeing something great happen. We've still got September, October, November, December. We've still got 4 months left of 2020. Now, predictions are just predictions, and foresight is just foresight. But I can see that after yesterday, there's going to be some big snowballing events that come off the back of yesterday. I really do. And for all of those of you that out there that are awake and you're trying to talk to your friends and families and wake them up and get them to be paying attention, keep going. You might not think, you might think at some times that you're not making any headway, but trust me, you are. Jesus says, be a fisher of men, be someone that either waters or plants seeds. So and that's all you've got to do is just plant seeds. This isn't about speaking to your brothers and sisters and your friends and families and being all authoritative with them and saying, you've got to be paying attention to this. Just drop some little truth bombs and plant some seeds and do it with a little smile on your face and watch them hopefully grow in that, because there's so many people out there that have been so brainwashed by this corporate system. And at one point, the system was pretty fair. The system was all right, but it's not now. And clearly the police, the way that the police are with us now is they hate us. They have a complete hatred for us. They don't work for us. They work for private corporate gain. And it's about robbing you and having more for them. They choose it. They like their spoils. They like to take your children. They like to take your cars. They like to take your homes when you've built up. Now, I'm very cautious because I'm someone that's always done quite well in life. And I shouldn't have to feel like this, but I do. I'm very protectful over how I am and how I intercourse with the system, because I know one false move and I'm going to have their robbers and their robbers' dogs round trying to take my estate, my worldly stuff. And they have no right to do that, ladies and gentlemen, because all men and women are created equal. That's a God-given right. That's our unalienable rights. We're all born, devoured by our Creator, endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. That's in the Declaration of Independence. So why are we allowing these corporate people to do what they do to us? They have no right to do it. No right whatsoever. Matt Taylor, I missed your 3-hour, 15-minute show yesterday. I'm really looking forward to watching it later. Yeah, it was good. We had a good buzz. It was great. It was like I was buzzing for everyone that couldn't get there that we were covering. We covered Dublin, we covered London, we covered Berlin, and I also did one last night where Jerusalem. They've surrounded Netanyahu's headquarters, and pretty much all of Jerusalem are out in defiance against Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, quite a few years ago, there was a young Jewish lad, Israeli boy, that he had what they call a near-death experience, right? I don't know if he was drowning or he got hit in a car crash or something happened. And he was unconscious for quite a while, flatlining. But by the grace, he come back and he's still here. And what he did, he said, I need to talk to a rabbi. So he went and found a rabbi, and I think 3 rabbis sat round. And this is, you can see this is on YouTube. And the young kid told him about what he'd seen and how he'd seen the ending of Israel. And it happened so quickly. And the rabbis were gobsmacked. He said, the whole world descends on us. The whole world descends and finishes us. I'm like, wow. So mainstream malpractice media attacking that young lad that defended himself from an armed communist. You're talking about the American lad. Ray Edmonds says, police, parliament, army. They are the army. There's no two ways about that. The police are now the army. They just dress different. Because when you look at our army now, is 70,000. Most of them are fighting abroad. And I think there's 200,000 police men and women serving in this country. I think 30,000 of them are trained tactically for firearms. I mean, Adolf turned around and said years ago, if you want to control a country and its people, first you must disarm them. And that's what they've done. But now they're beating us with their stick. You know, they're using this thing called force all the time. If you don't comply with their orders, they use force. And we see them abusing their powers all the time, but they don't care. Why? Because they're ring-fenced. They're protected. They are deemed themselves untouchables. We've got a police farce and a service in this country that predominantly are protected by the courts and the judiciary, and they won't go against one of their own. No. Very rarely. Very, very rarely will they go against one of their own, unless their crimes have been so heinous. Like quite a few years ago, there was a guy, excuse me, walked into a hairdresser's in Ashford. I think he was CID. I'm trying to think of what his name was. I've looked into the case. Why can't I remember his name? And he killed his wife while she was working in the hair salon in front of people. He stabbed her multiple times and left her dead on the floor. Well, he got sent to prison for that, obviously for murder. But the way the system and the judges look at this, it's not that they've took a life, it's that they've ended one of their corporations. And when you're born into this system, the bankers float liens on you. All right. So you get a birth certificate, which has got a bond number on it. And what they do, the bankers float money on that because they know in all the years that you're going to live, maybe you're going to live 70, 80, 90 years. They know that in that time period, if they float £5 million on you the day you're born, once you're birthed, they float the 5 million. This is true. I wouldn't lie to you. They float that, and they know that over the years through mortgages and council tax and all this and that, you're going to give them some real party bonuses. You're really going to give them a super investment. You're a fantastic investment. So once you snuff out a corporation and maybe that corporation had another 20, 30 years to live, that's why they come down with the sentencing, because you've denied them what that corporation is going to create them in revenue. Now, that's just sick, isn't it? But that's the truth. And if you don't believe it to the truth, rather than not accept it, maybe go and have a look at do some research into that. You know, we all get so triggered nowadays by race, gender, baiting, and we just go on the defensive instead of the offensive. We get so triggered. We get so triggered. Oh, he said this, this, that. But the point is this. If you're ignorant of the facts that someone's telling you something, then rather than kick off, why not just maybe spend a little bit of time having a look into it for yourself, coming to your own conclusions. That's what you should be doing. We get so triggered. We do. We're so separated. It's unbelievable. Sensationalism. Yeah, it is, Paul. It is. We suffer from sensationalism. We're all so worthy, and now our feelings get hurt, and then we come out, we get triggered. We're all so self-important, especially the younger generations. They're so self-important. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a difference between being proud and standing up for your unalienable rights. But see, know thyself. It's all about knowing thyself. You know, we wasn't created by this system. We're just trapped in it. We're just part of it. We're creation of the Most High, the divine, and no man or woman can claim to own you. But what they do, they've been very clever with it. They've birthed us. We come into the world crowning out of our mother's waters. Oh, the baby's crowning. Oh, fantastic. It's coming into the world as king. Then you're born to the world, and then 5 days later, you're birthed. Normally, it takes parents 5 days to trot on down to the registration office. So if you get pulled over by a copper, date of birth. No, mate, sorry, I was born. It's not about birthing. I'm not into none of that. Hi, Dave. If those 1% are trying to get rid of us, they won't be able to use us on the stock market. Just asking. Well, yeah, but I think they've already made all there. I think now this is just an exercise of depopulation, because I actually think that the system that they've created and this necessity system that we all rely on for our food, water, drink, fuel, this, that, the other, is so highly burdened. And this is why we're seeing all these big things coming, collapsing down right now, that I think it's gone past that. I think it's gone past the monetary aspect and what can we get out of this individual. I do. And I think that the system is stressed, because we used to grow all our own food. We used to be local. We had localized people doing different bits and bobs. But now it's all gone this centralized thing. There's so much pressure on it because it's an unnatural thing for us to be in that respect, that I think this is why the system's all choking and thinking about we need to depopulate. In fact, they say that we're overpopulated in this country. Especially true for city centres, big tower blocks, high rise. I mean, I grew up in them. I grew up in high rise tower blocks. But now, fortunately, I live out in the country. But if you was to jump in an aeroplane or a helicopter and go up to 15,000 feet and fly over the country, you'll see that there's so much land. I mean, so much land that it doesn't stack up. Their argument don't stack up. A bit like their coronavirus argument don't stack up. Now, I'm going to be venturing off into my high street, my little village high street in a minute to get some bits and bobs from the shop. And I'm going to walk in there so proud and so loud that no one will ask me, where's your mask? And they will be, if they do, they'll be politely told to mind their own business. My friends went to Howlets yesterday. They took their kids to see the penguins and all that. And I mean, I went to the zoo years ago, and this young kid, I don't know how he managed to get it, but he got a penguin and he threw it in with a lion enclosure, and all the parents gasped, but it was all right because the lion couldn't get the wrapper off. But yesterday we took their family to the zoo, and they was the only 2+2 family that never wore any masks. Never. They never wore any masks, and everyone was looking at them like they're zombies, because the whole country's now become collaborators. They're all doing the government's bidding for them. It's not the government you want to watch out for, it's the people. I mean, yeah, they're not hurting us. We're doing it ourselves. Absolutely right, Trev. Lovely to see you, brother. Don't know whether many of you know, but Daddy Dragon Graham Moore is doing something around at Runnymede at 12:30 today. So if you're near Runnymede or you fancy a little day out, go to the Kennedy Memorial at Runnymede. And Graham will be there with a lot of people, I presume, today from 12:30 onwards. So maybe if you want to have a little trek out, take your dogs. Dogs welcome. They've got disabled access as well. So if you fancy doing that, then Bob's your uncle. They leave the tools, we pick it up. Amen. Now, you know, I've said before I disappear, because I've got stuff to go and do. We're just coming up to the top of the hour at 10 o'clock on the 30th of August, 2020. And it's a very chilly day today, ladies and gentlemen. I reckon tonight's going to be down to 2 degrees. My good God. But in a week or two time, we're going to be having the last heat wave of the year. So that's going to be good. Dave, if the mask was a problem, all those people, yes, exactly. There's not been one child die of COVID-19 in this country. Not one child. But the schools are subjecting them to some really mind-fucking treatment. Isolation, sitting with this on and that on. And there was one school in Ireland yesterday that has a COVID shed. They're saying, if our pupils show signs of COVID, we stick them in the shed. Fucking get in the shed. They stick them in the shed, and in the shed they got like a 6x4 fucking shed, 6x3 shed, and they got a couple of breeze blocks in there. So just to get the kids up off the ground, stop them getting piles. You're sitting there, 4 in the 4 corners of the shed. Personally, I think these blocks are to hold it down, stop it blowing away in the wind. But that's where apparently they're sending the kids that are showing COVID-like symptoms. Now, I can imagine them kids are going to go to that school, look at the shed and go, fucking hell, what's that? Well, that's the COVID shed. No, and I can imagine if they're in that classroom and they got like a little itch up their nose and they want to sneeze, I imagine they're like going blue in the face and holding their nose and their cheek so they don't sneeze, because you know they're off to the COVID shed. You know that. You know that they're off to the COVID shed. They are. Sad times. Really sad times. I would not be subjecting my child to none of that nonsense, because what you put them through now, they're going to carry that for the rest of their lives. They will never forget that isolation, that desolation. And our system, purely from the fact that not one child has died through COVID-19 ain't happening, is it? So why are the schools doing all this social distancing? It's unbelievable. We're not seeing any hard facts, ladies and gentlemen, of this virus being this big killer thing. They've decommissioned a COVID-19 satellite hospital, Nightingale Hospitals. They've decommissioned the one at Canary Wharf. There was another one, I think, yesterday around near Aldershot Barracks. I'm seeing these places be decommissioned all the time. There's a test centre in Moat Park, Maidstone, empty, no one goes in there, and it is purely really for NHS staff and people that work in the system, for doctors and nurses and that, to go and have a quick test if they feel a bit ropey. and that's not very busy either. Is it a mass deadly killer pandemic? No, it's not. But the way that this country's gearing up and the things it's subjecting the people to and the abuse, there's been more people harmed by police abuse and systematic abuse and suicides and cancer patients that can't get treatment than will ever have died of this COVID-19, 1984, whatever it is you want to call it. And if it was a deadly pandemic, I would be nowhere. I wouldn't even leave this office. Trust me, if I knew that my brothers and sisters out there were sneezing, coughing and dropping dead of this killer pandemic, you look up the definition of a pandemic, you lose half your population. They're gone. We know that 20,000 more elderly people have died this year in nursing homes, all right? We know they've been topping them off. And we just got to get this out. We've got to get this information out to normal everyday people that are prepared to listen. If you're not prepared to listen, here's the irony. This will affect you one day. The ironic part about this is if you do nothing about this now and you sit and you're quiet and you do nothing about kicking up a stench about what's going on, this will affect you one day because you're going to be an old man or a woman and you're going to be subjected to it if you don't stand now. Trust me, you will be subjected to it. So what do? Do you hedge your bets and think, well, I'll be all right. I'm just going to try and dodge the government bullet because we're all trying to dodge the government bullet with regards to, we're not paying our council tax. I'm not paying road tax. I'm not paying income tax. You're always getting them letters come through, threatening letters. If you know where you live, it's coming for you, you bastards. You're always trying to dodge the bullet. It's not what this country was founded on, ladies and gentlemen. This country wasn't founded on that feeling of, I've just got to try and get through, dodge the bullet, keep my head down, don't make too much of a noise. That's not what this world's all about. Friend living in Sweden, no lockdown, said to me yesterday, you're all idiots if you're wearing a mask now. I was astounded by their behaviour and words as they don't even live here now. Don't look, if people want to wear a mask, wear the mask. If it makes you feel holier than thou and righteous and virtuous, wear a mask. But from my understanding and understanding, this causing more problems to yourself and your own respiratory system than via not wearing a mask. And this country is embroiled in so much fear right now. I won't walk in fear. I walk in faith. I don't walk worried about what tomorrow's going to bring because tomorrow might never come. It just might never come. I might never wake up tomorrow. But am I going to walk in fear and, I can't go out. There's this killer virus. This car's going to run me over on the side of the road. I could run off. I could fall off my push bike and never do anything. You'd never do anything. You'd never leave the house. Jesus said, worry not for your life. Don't worry about it. Just live it. Live your life. Jesus commanded you to live your life. Don't live in fear. Fuck fear. He said, forget fear. Fear is for the people that don't know that they're eternally saved. Fear is a bad thing, people. It raises your cortisol levels up. It gets you stressed out. It's so bad for you. But the government want you in fear. They don't want you rising like lions from your slumber, casting off them chains like morning dew. They don't want you doing that. They want you sucking the corporate dick. It's unbelievable. Put your seatbelt on. Why? Because we're telling you to. We are your owners. Put your fucking seatbelt on. Let's put my seatbelt on then. This is what's happened. We've been told to do it. It's been slowly catchy monkey. Do this. We're bringing this thing out. Where's the outcry? No one outcried. So seatbelts are now, you've got to put them on, right? Well, where's your freedom of choice? Where's your freedom of expression? Where's your freedom to get up and use your creation as you see fit? This world is your creation, right? You have the right to do what you want to do, right? If you've got unalienable rights, there's no man that owns you. There's no man or woman that can tell you what to do, right? None at all. So that's the point we're in. And that's why we're at the masks now. put your mask on, put your face nappy on. Otherwise, we're going to slap you. We're going to give you a £10,000 fine. What am I living in? Why am I living in a country where there's food banks? Why am I living in a country where our military people are on the streets dying from starvation and hypothermia? Why? Who's allowing this to continue, this satanic doctrine? Whatever happened about caring for one another, for loving one another, for respecting one another? And whatever happened to having a free life? To be secure in your equity, to be secure. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to the rights that you make your own mind up, that you are your own sovereign vessel, devoured in your greatness by your creator? All men are created equal. No man is above another. No man, just because he's got more money or wears a black suit in a judge's chamber, has got the right to tell you what to do. Food banks and farmers growing sweet FA. Yeah, exactly. Now, we supposedly leaving this European Union back in 2016, which is farcical. You would have thought that the farmers would have just gone into mass production. You would have thought that we would have been building buildings where we can just grow all the exotic fruits and veg so that you can have an abundance of food all year round. You would have thought we've been growing stuff where we can make fuel out of, that we can make clothes out of, like hemp. The fastest growing plant in the world. The versatility of that plant is something else. You can build houses out of hemp that don't catch fire. You can build cars out of hemp. You can build clothes out of hemp. You can build medicines out of hemp. You can make clothes out of hemp. Beautiful, beautiful clothes, beautiful. Why are we not having forward visioning people? Why have we got this situation where the system is run by people of a low vibration? Why is that? Where are all your illuminated people? Why are they being suppressed? Your country would grow like you've got no tomorrow if you allowed the people that have vision and foresight. Your country would grow like you've never seen before. You would all have such abundance, but we're all being held back by this corporate puppet machine, and it's got to stop, ladies and gentlemen. The EU farmers not to grow produce. They do. The EU pay farmers not to grow. So there's farmers sat at home watching Jeremy Vine whilst their fields are going to rack and ruin. We're idiots. We are absolutely fucking idiots. Children of today have no experience of life. Mud pies, playing in haystacks, getting into mischief, and these face nappies are nowhere. Absolutely right, Radmans. You can't beat a good mud pie, brother. Mud pies are the way forward. Great fun, wouldn't they? We have to be free. That's right, AZ0. Is this your first time, AZ0? I think it is. Nice to see you. If you fancy subscribing, please do. The subscriptions are going up. I've been bashing on this channel for probably the last 4.5 months now, since I got pretty much had a 90-day ban on Facebook, and I've got an extra 660 subscribers. I think we're up at 700 odd now, so it's great. It's growing all the time. I love it. Support the English Democrats and Robin Tilbrook. Yeah, why not? Suppress, says Jason Will. Happy birthday to your mum. Yeah, it's mum's birthday today. We're going to go out for some lunch. She wants to sit outside, but with this temperature, we'll probably have to go in now. They're going to say, got your mobile number? No, ain't got a mobile. Got any ID? Yeah, here you go. Yeah, I'll actually, in fact, I might record this. I don't know if I've charged my spy camera glasses up. People ask for my ID. I just go, what, do you want to know who I am? Oh, yeah, we need to know who you are. So I go, there you go. There's my sovereign decree. Sealed up by a solicitor. There's my sovereign decree. And they read it and they go, have a nice afternoon. I go, thanks, brother, sister. You're on the case. Loving it. I echo your words, Jason Wills. How old, Dave? Oh, I can't tell you my mum's age today, Trev. All I'm going to say is I'm 53 in September and she was 19 when she gave birth to me. I'll let you do the math. Hazy O, yeah, I can see you got your English Democrat thingy up there. Bob's your uncle. Lovely to see you. Happy born day, Mum's Day. Yeah, oh, I'm going to love her. I love my mum. She's a good egg. She brought me into the world. Whatever reason, I don't know. I feel sorry for the generations being born now. The kids that are just being born to this. Jeepers creepers. M Mouse 07999. My details should they insist. Mr. Mouse. I only want to go out for a bit of dinner, mate. I don't want to give you my life story and my details and all me. What do you want about? So it's going to be interesting today. If they ask me for identification, I'm just going to whip that sovereign decree out, give them the first page and go, have a quick read of that. And yeah, I might even record their response. We'll see. No one really challenges me in any case because I walk in and I've got this like, you know what I mean? I ain't tolerating no fucking nonsense. Put a mask on. Don't yours work then? What's up with you? Does your mask not work? Great story. Before I disappear. A woman the other day, I'm trying to think of her name. She's a friend of mine on Facebook. She was out shopping. She didn't have a mask on. And this individual come up and pulled her. Said, where's the mask? I got a mask on. Where's your mask? And because she couldn't see this woman's face, my friend, rather than get into animosity, she just beamed, had a big smile and told this woman that she loved her and that she's harming herself. This woman with the mask on started crying, took her mask off. My mate's crying and they both hugged each other because of her beaming smile, because of how great and people have missed. She said, and this woman with a mask on said, you don't know how much I've missed seeing people smile. That's hard to take in, isn't it? You don't know how much I've missed seeing people smile. Unbelievable. Cody McAllister, love is all powerful. Amen, brother. Amen, brother. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're 46 minutes and 55 seconds. I do love coming in and chatting with you lot. If it's your first time, consider subscribing. Hit the bell button, notification, all that stuff. There's a few other people, if you're lacking for time and you've turned away from the BBC and all these other outlets, there's some great people out there now on YouTube setting up their platforms. Dr. Vernon Coleman, awesome. Old man in the chair, as he calls himself. Personally, I call Dr. Vernon Coleman a national treasure. That's what I call Dr. Vernon Coleman. We've also got Carl Vernon, CIRLVRNON. He's going ballistic. He's really, 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 really going mental. If there's anyone out there that does printing, T-shirts and that, I'm going to start doing some T-shirts, like maybe Witcher's World or something, that you can all go and to this site. So if there's anyone out there that does that, like mugs and stuff, I fancy doing that because it's so powerful. Many years ago, there's been revolutions happening where people just went out and put posters on signs, on lamp posts and doorways, and people said, have you seen this? It's a very powerful thing. So we need to do that. We need unity. If we can start doing T-shirts, if you've got any ideas for T-shirts and a message on a T-shirt, let me know in the comments. If you've got any messages we can put on mugs. There's anyone that does mugs and T-shirts and all that, let me know. We'll get something going. It'd be fantastic to have people with the truth and all that on their cup. So when their mates and neighbours come around for a cup of tea, so I like your mug. Yeah, where'd you get that from? But what's the message behind that? It starts up conversation. It starts up debate, which is a fantastic thing. I need to get someone that does masks, masks, T-shirts and mugs and stuff like that we can get this message out. I really do. I'd love to do that. I'll be advertising it on my Facebook channel as well. The COVID 1984 T-shirt getting good responses. Well done, Cody McAllister. Where'd you get that from? Interesting to know. Good to hear a London accent. Paul Stewart, hello, mate. Nice to see you. I was born and bred in Peckham, South East London. But I've been in Kent now for, how long have I been in Kent? I was 15 and a half when I moved to Medway. I'm not in Medway now. I'm out in the heart of the Kent countryside. And I'm 53 in a couple of weeks' time. So long time. Graham's doing much. See, it's fantastic. That's how we do this. You know, if it really would open debate up if we got T-shirts. Just for an instance, Aaron Lambo, who's a bodybuilder, he's a bit like me. No, he's about 10 times as big as me. He's got tattoos and that. He looks a bit mean, but he's actually a really decent individual. He got slapped by a copper quite a few years ago, about 3 years ago, and he called this PC dickhead number one. And he slated him on YouTube and Facebook, but then he started doing T-shirts with PC dickhead number one. And everyone in that town was walking around with these T-shirts on, and this copper see it, and it done him in. Now, this big burly copper that gave Aaron a slap had to go off with psychological mental issues. I've got PTSD. This is causing me issues, right? Now, when Aaron found out, Aaron did the right thing. He asked everyone to leave PC dickhead alone. People were walking up and down the high street saying, "All right, PC dickhead number one, how are you today, me old fruit?" Bosh, right? I will do, Trev. I'll have my camera out today, son. Don't worry about that. And it rocked this copper for the hatred that had been built up against him, and for that he was in the limelight because he'd give Aaron a slap. Aaron said after a while, "Look, knock this on the head. Leave the man alone. He's just out trying to do his job. I think he's learned his lesson." So powerful. So powerful. It really is so powerful. I live in Wiltshire now. Just subscribe. Thanks, Paul Stewart. Love it to see you. I live out in Kent now, mate. I really do. Yeah, PC dickhead number one. He copped it big time. Let me tell you. Massively so. But Aaron did the right thing and said, "No, leave him alone now." Yeah, you know, the man's obviously a cock. Just loves bashing people. Like, when did the police ever get this ethos inside them that they could just bash us out, when they could just beat us up and twist us up like pretzels? When did they ever get this? We own you. It's an ownership mentality, isn't it? You know, if I can come round your house and twist you up, must means I own you, right? If I can come round and take your house, take your car, and just do what I want with you, cuff you, bend you up, must mean I'm making a claim of ownership. Surely, without any words, I'm making a claim of I fucking own you, bitch. It's true, isn't it? Yeah. Power in the men and women. Amen, Sonia Ballard Scott. Paulie Hart says classic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're living on a clown planet and we're living in weird times. And common sense, does it exist anymore? Does common sense actually exist? When you see the amount of bumfluffery and fuckery that goes on out there in the world, you've got to question to yourself, now, surely, if you have common sense, you've got to be saying to yourself, what is going on out there? You know, I find it a very scary place out there with all them people. Everyone out there now seeing what they get up to. I'm standing there going, "Nah, that ain't happening, is it?" Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah, no, yeah, they are. Yeah. Now, I was just blessed with common sense. I'm lucky to have had a level of intelligence, but really and truthfully, my energy comes from a common sense approach to most things, and it's a fine art nowadays. Common sense, you know, it's like, "Oh, I'm over here. I got some common sense. What about you?" No, I'm stuck in bumfluffery. Yeah. Look, I've got my mask on. I've got my visor on. I'm in my car. I've got my gloves on. I'm going down the road. I'm as safe as houses. All right. Okay. Yeah, cool. And we're dealing with this 24/7 nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. And if you go out in the street and you ain't got a mask on, you've got people going, "Hey, where's the fucking mask?" Well, what are you, a government collaborator? Why are you wearing a mask? Because government told me to. Would you put your head in the oven if government told you to? Yes. Well, all right then. All right. Thanks for your time, brother. Move on. Let's rock and roll. Common sense, you're streetwise. It's all neat. I was streetwise, Mikey. I grew up in Peckham. You had to be saucy. You had to know where it was all coming from. Do you know what I mean? Love it to see you, mate. I'm just off very soon. Another 5 minutes. I've got to go and do some bits and bobs, and it's off to see me mum today because it's her birthday. It's her birthday today. Yeah. Deptford boy here. Yeah, Mike is from Deptford. He lives about, how far do you reckon you are from here, Mike? About 2,500 yards, maybe 3,000 yards if I went straight over the fields. Straight over. Oh, I can't go over the railway line. That's a bit of a bummer. Maybe I'll catapult myself on a Evel Knievel bike. Listen, years ago, I was saying the other day, where I grew up, we all had bikes, BMXs, grifters, choppers. We used to lay little milk crates. Sometimes, if we got a longer bit of wood, we'd put 3 crates up I'm telling you. And then we'd go woof, straight up the end, and then we'd get people laying down, kids laying down on the floor. Obviously, you wouldn't go out too far. You'd do a test jump first and see how far you went. You might have gone 12 foot, 10 foot. So you'd have kids laying down there about 6 foot. You knew you was going to clear them. And bosh, you come pelting down, what's up the ramp? And then you're in the air. You're flying without wings. Bosh, right? I didn't grow up in these kids nowadays. Kids are setting doors going, dun, 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 dun. Mum, I got a splinter, Mum. I didn't grow up in that. Where did you nick the bikes from? No, I never got into thievery. I never. It weren't a path I wanted to go down. My mum actually, bless her, years ago, she went and see a psychic medium when me and my brother were very young. And this psychic medium said to my mother, she said, "You got 2 boys." And she said, "They won't never bring any trouble to your door." She said, "No prison, no nothing like that." She said, "They're good kids. They won't never bring you any trouble." And then my mum's like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's handy to know, especially in this day and age, in this modern world, back in the 60s. Have you noticed people get right upset when they see you're not wearing a mask? Well, I'm just about to go down your village. Mikey, do you want to meet me down there, son, in about half hour? We'll team up. We're going as a duo. How's about some of that, son? Come on, let's go. Yeah, I've got to go down there in a minute, grab some bits and bobs. Trevor, it upsets me to see these little kids in these hideous masks. Not one child in this country has died from COVID 1984. Not one. Not one. Out of 65 million people, not one kid. And we're subjecting them to all this bollocks in the schools. It's disgraceful. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We should be only ashamed of it. And why? Because we're told to do it. We're told. Everywhere you go, school teacher, microphone in her face. Why are you making the kids wear the masks? Because we've been told to. Go down the high streets. Security guards, why are you enforcing masks on people and going and having a go at them? Because we're told to. Oh, who's telling you? Government. Oh, them bum flufferers. They just suffer from bum fluffery. They do. Government are just, I wouldn't let them make me a chocolate teapot. I really wouldn't. Company policy. It's crazy. We're living in a crazy world, man. Clown planet. I've noticed that far too many people are still wearing mask puppets. Yeah, it's disgusting. Well, it's their choice. Don't get me wrong. You know, it's their choice if they want to get up in the morning and shit themselves and sit in it all day. That's their choice, you know. I'm not going to take away from anyone their ability to be free and to make their own informed decisions, but they don't make informed decisions no more. They do what they're told to. They do what the TV and the radio and the media tell them to do. Now, would they be so keen to just go and jump on that train car? We're going to take you off to a nice place. We've got shops and all that. Did you know when the Jewish people were rounded up and taken to these concentration camps, that there was a massive propaganda campaign from Joseph Goebbels and all these others, right, that showed them on a TV or cinematic films in the cinemas that how great these places were, that they had shops in there and swimming pools and all this great thing, and that they were a great place to go to. Do you honestly think that all of these Jewish people would have jumped on them trains and just sorted themselves up and casually got on them trains and gone to where they were going? No, they were programmed to think that the places they were going to were fantastic. The propaganda machine of the Germans told and showed these concentration camps to be beautiful, beautiful places, places of safety. That's why they all got on the trains. I'm telling you now, that's why they all got on them trains, because their propaganda machine, the TVs, the camera, the cinemas, everyone used to go to the cinemas back in the day. You might think that's quite bizarre, but mate, that's where everybody went for their weekly entertainment. They went out, they sat next to one another in these massive auditoriums and they watched what's flickering up, Pathé News and all that stuff. I don't know what the Germans had. And they used to sit there and get their popcorn and their drinks, whatever, and they sit there and go, oh, blimey. And you'd have, before the film come on or whatever it was, a silent movie or whatever back then, you'd get all the news bits and bobs come up. And the Germans used this propaganda machine to program everyone in these cinemas that these concentration camps, these places that they were making, were so safe, so uber, so lovely. That's why they all got on the trains. Wouldn't have got on the trains otherwise. None of them questioned why they was getting on them trains. They thought, yeah, no, we're off. We've got this new place we're going to. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fantastic. It wasn't really, was it? I'm fuming people calling us nut jobs, thinking government want to look after them. Collaborators. Government. When you work with the government and you do their bidding, you're a collaborator. The US Army are practicing rounding up civilians in concentration camps right now. Well, you know, let that be a lesson to the rest of us, eh? We are certainly in touching times, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm grateful of what happened yesterday. Yesterday was uber to see. It was just immense. It really, really was. Seeing these people, 35,000 plus people, descend on the capital city and then Downing Street, walk past Nelson's Fleet, and made their message heard. The sad part, before I disappear, is that the BBC, the ITV and the mainstream media never covered it at all, and will never cover it, because they know if they do, it's game over. But there will come a time and there will come a point where they have no choice but to cover it. So till then, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in this morning. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for all your kind messages. Thanks for all the love that you show me. It's fantastic. And I will pass the love on to my mother today, that you're all sending me beautiful, beautiful comments. So, ladies and gentlemen, think on. Now's the time to fix up and look sharp, like Dizzy Rascal said. It's now time to take the bull by the horns and make your own greatness, I tell you, because we can do this. And yesterday was a sure sign that people are now had enough. I'll see you all soon. Take care of yourself. Love to your mother. Who was that? It was a song, wasn't it? Take care, guys. Might have been the Beastie Boys. I'm not too sure. Happy birthday. Keep hearing these going to school, but put another in lockdown. No, fuck the lockdown. Not doing it. Take care. I've never had a day in lockdown since it started, and I've never worn a mask. I will never bow down. Never. Take care.